Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit. All praises, all praises, all praises to the heavenly, holy, almighty creator of infinity, eternity, the universe, and all there is. This is Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit. Hello, family. We are back together again with our super spiritual eyes and ears open, where we examine our spiritual existence within this carnal reality. And we are continuing with our series called While Black. And so, as so-called African Americans or blacks or Negroes in America, and our true identity is we are the chosen, the Israelites of the holy history. We examine the operations as we navigate throughout this continent of confusion. And so the series was created to outline instances and scenarios and events that occur negatively against the chosen while black, being it everyday mundane activity. It somehow sparks the ire of the other nations, where they come against us to investigate our activities, our movements, our motivations, and our thoughts. And this falls under the question, is America racist? Or are you black folks just too sensitive? Do you just blow things out of proportion? It was just an isolated incident. There is no racism in America. So family, we will be reviewing an article of a realtor and a prospective client and their treatment that occurred to them while viewing property and while black. And we began. Black real estate agent and clients handcuffed outside of Michigan home they were viewing. When a black real estate agent glanced out the window of a house he was showing and saw a police officer circling the property with his gun, he was afraid there was a fugitive in the yard. This is kind of a nice house, but there's a criminal outside, Eric Brown said, he thought to himself when he saw the officer. At the time, he was giving Roy Thorne and the man's 15-year-old son, Sammy, a tour of a Wyoming, Michigan home. He's not going to buy this house now, Brown worried. However, he said he grew less concerned with making a sale and more concerned with staying safe when he noticed a second officer behind a tree making hand gestures. Before the afternoon was over, police officers would order the trio out of the home and place them in handcuffs. A typical showing. Brown, 46, with Grand Rapids Real Estate, arrived at the two-story, two-garage, brick-covered home at 2 p.m. Sunday and did what he always does. He tested the doorbell, used an app on his phone to open a lockbox that held the key, and let himself in before his client arrived in order to open closets and bedroom doors. Thorne, 45, who Brown has known since they were teens, and Sammy arrived 10 minutes later. The three waved to neighbors outside doing Sunday things, the guy who was mowing the lawn, the family next door who was hosting an outdoor gathering. They didn't notice when the officers arrived. Get out of the line of fire. Brown knew the doors of the house were open. He feared a suspect was on the loose and might try to come in the house to hide. If there's anywhere to run, It's going to be in the house, he remembered thinking. They're about to flush a criminal into this house. We're going to be hostages in here, and Sammy's in the basement. Sammy suddenly rushed upstairs to report that there were more officers in the front of the home. Thorne, who is also black and is an Army veteran, told his sons to get out of the line of fire and opened a window to address the officers, Brown said. They were so focused on organizing themselves that they didn't hear him screaming, Brown told NBC News on Friday. When the officer did hear him, the officer pointed his gun at the house. That's when I knew they were here for us, he added. It does something to you. Brown said he and his clients were ordered to come downstairs and exit the front of the house one at a time with their hands up. We realized, okay, this has been going on for some time, he said. 3 or 4 officer vehicles were parked with their wheels on the sidewalk, and officers using their open SUV doors as shields and with guns drawn were waiting for the trio to emerge from the house. As Brown, Thorne, and Sammy exited the house, they were instructed to turn around and walk toward the officers backward. When you have several guns pointed at you and they tell you to turn around, it does something to you, Brown said. I'm just showing this house. All 3 were handcuffed. Brown asked what the disturbance was and didn't get an answer. Before he was about to be placed in the cruiser, he urged an officer to go into his pocket, pull out his wallet, and find his business card, showing that he is a real estate agent. I'm just showing the house, he said. The officer paused and asked Brown how he got into the house. Still handcuffed, Brown said he was led back to the entrance of the house to demonstrate how he got the key out of the lockbox. The officers with the Wyoming Police Department in Michigan took the handcuffs off the 3 and apologized, Brown said. They told him the house recently had a squatter. The squatter's black Mercedes resembled Brown's black Genesis car. But he couldn't shake the feeling that in the overwhelmingly white neighborhood, he, his friend, and his friend's son had been racially profiled. This feels wrong. It feels bad, Brown said. My heart's racing. Sammy looks 10 shades lighter. He's clearly terrified and traumatized by the situation. Meanwhile, the officers just pulled off. He counted up to 7 officers, all white. He said they did zero due diligence when they arrived to the house. They didn't announce themselves or try to ring the doorbell. They didn't come there to talk. The way they moved around the house, Roy, with his military training, recognized that posturing. It flipped from, we're showing a house, to, we need to make it out of here alive, Brown said. I trusted that we were in danger, very serious danger. Department protocol. The Wyoming Police Department of Michigan did not respond to multiple requests from NBC News for comment. In a statement to NBC affiliate Wood of Grand Rapids, Captain Timothy Poles said officers were responding to a 911 call from a neighbor reporting that a house was being broken into. Officers were aware that a previous burglary had occurred at the same address on July 24th, and that a suspect was arrested and charged for unlawful injury during that incident. The caller indicated that the previously arrested suspect had returned and again entered the house, the statement said. Brown, Thorne, and Sammy were handcuffed per department protocols, Pohl said. He did not address the officers surrounding the house with guns drawn or failing to announce themselves. While Brown and Thorne are now speaking with a lawyer, he said they are focused on getting emotional support for Sammy, Thorne, and himself to heal as fast as they can. I went from being afraid for my life to shell-shocked to this is not right to now slightly angry, Brown said. I felt definitely guilty of breaking into this house, he said, and I had the keys and the right to be there. So there it is, family. We had the brother and his client's son, going to view a property. And in their everyday activity, they should have been excited in viewing the aspects of a new home and a new location, only to be accosted by 7 police officers without explanation, being handcuffed and detained, and the terroristic psychological impact and technique imposed upon them, and especially that of a minor, causing trauma, post-traumatic stress. And so, the realtor and the client, do they feel justified in their actions and their emotions of anger? Are the police justified in their crime fighting, quote unquote, on their apprehension of the quote unquote suspects, of their treatment, of their lack of announcing their arrival and or presence, providing a clear understanding of why they're there and their motivation for detaining? There was an apology given. So, in this episode of Wild Black, viewing real estate property, is it a wash? Is everything good? Should we all just call it a day? Family, please let me know how you feel about this episode. Like, subscribe, and share. Please join us in this continuing episode and series. Please send us any articles or other content you would like read or reviewed on the channel. We shall return as we continue to expand our spiritual acumen of sight and hearing. We will continue to review our spiritual existence in this carnal captivity. And family, until we are together again, I love you. I love you. I love you. This is Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit. Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit.